It's another round of SDH AM. John here, you there. Thanks for dropping by as you always do. Hi. All right. Here's the rundown for today. We're going to talk a lot about the match that's coming up this afternoon at Jerry World. And there is a deep dive that Jason did last night on AST about a player that is not going to be in a starting 11 unless something happens and the coach has a change of heart from what has been going on with this particular player and his impact for his team. I had a deep dive last night on AST. We'll get into that deep dive, and we'll look at everything that is going to be attached to this matchup that we can put our hands on between now and 10:30. There's a lot of AM news. There's a lot of stuff to get into, and obviously opening kickoff and so on and so forth. But at 10:30, we get to catch up with Albert Mitchell. And Mr. Mitchell is in charge of, and he is the founder and executive director of NJMED, New Jersey Minority Educational Development. And he designed the nation's first evidence-based at-risk minority male dropout prevention model. And what he and NJ Med are trying to do now is combat literacy issues here inside the United States. And they're using the opportunity for the World Cup to explain what they're looking to do in the future. And it is a Futbol and Books Program that they are looking to expand out of the Northeast and looking to have it implemented here in Atlanta in a bunch of different markets. And the national rollout, they're looking to have it in concert with the World Cup. So we're going to catch up with him at 10:30, find out about the program itself, its genesis, information that he has, all the numbers and all that kind of stuff, to see where the program is, why, and what they're looking to do to combat it, the evidence that they have, and what they're looking to do with the stuff that they have on hand. So founder and executive director, New Jersey Minority Educational Development, NJ Med, Albert Mitchell, set to join us to talk about the Futbol and Books Program at 10:30 and stamping out literacy issues here in the United States. And they're looking to have soccer as one of their engines to help combat literacy problems. So that'll be at 10:30 this morning. So we're going to do a lot to get you prepped for the matchup later today. We got our news, we got our stuff, and then at 10:30 we're going to catch up with Director Mitchell and find out about Futbol and Books and what we all can do to stamp out literacy and what NJ Med is trying to do to stamp out literacy issues here in the United States. So that is the rundown for this morning. And then you'll have tonight, obviously you'll have AST after the match is over. And then we get into tomorrow. Probably you're going to see some of it today for those of you that go and hang out downtown. And it is going to be England and Argentina tomorrow at Atlanta Stadium to determine who goes to the Meadowlands to take on the winner of today's match for the World Cup in 2026. So as we have maintained here in a bunch of different places, just enjoy the experience for what it is. If you are a fan of either side, enjoy your fandom for your side. If you are a neutral, enjoy it. But remember the history that's attached. Tomorrow, by the way, is going to be a power hour from 8 to 9, so we can actually get inside the perimeter and we can be there to show you everything that this matchup is going to be. So tomorrow morning, it's going to be review, preview, highlights, post, and prepping you for Argentina and England at Atlanta Stadium tomorrow. 8 to 9, power hour, and then we're all sprinting downtown. So today is going to be your preview kind of both as it evolves. Later today, it is going to be the press conference opportunities. It's going to be a mixed zone at Atlanta Stadium on England. You're going to get to hear Thomas Tuchel this evening, because they're not going to compete. The press conference time is not going to compete with the match. So they've kind of slid it back a little bit from what the original time was. Match is going to be happening in Dallas. Match is over. Then late this afternoon, early this evening, you're going to get opportunities to catch up with players from England. You're going to have the Thomas Tuchel press conference, and you're going to have the Lionel Scaloni press conference. And then they're going to be off and running in their MD-1s to make sure that everybody is gassed up and ready to go for their game tomorrow afternoon. But tomorrow's going to be an 8 to 9 power hour here on the network. And then that way we'll get you ready for everything. And then watch however you are watching. We'll go over ticket prices and the secondary market also as a part of our programming today. So that's the rundown over the next day and a half, basically. So it's going to be us to lead off today. You've got your press conferences. You've got all your news and notes. The match is going to happen this afternoon. After the match, Jason will have AST tonight. And then you'll have that as your reference point tomorrow between 8 and 9. We'll have our power hour. And then the match will happen. And then we'll have post-match after that. I believe Jason and AST are going to be at 6 o'clock tomorrow night, depending on when the match ends. And so he'll be in South Downtown tomorrow, 6 o'clock-ish. Let's put it that way, 6 o'clock in pencil, after Argentina and England. And so we'll have all of that ready for you as best we can tomorrow. So next day or so, we're going to be covering a lot of these two matchups that are going to be happening here. And it's going to be an absolute blast. And Morning Will, yes, that is the other part of what is going on this morning. We do have, by the way, a Five Stripes Don't Stop. We have a Five Stripes Don't Stop at 9:00 what? Hang on just a second, and I will tell you when it was. We had a Five Stripes Don't Stop after yesterday, where it was announced that the sheriff is in town. So as of 9:01, you have a Chilean jersey, Chilean national team jersey, in a backpack to go with a pair of Adidas cleats, an Andes postcard, and then the closing of the backpack. So this means, obviously, that we'll have something to talk about at 10 o'clock as well when it comes to Atlanta United. And that will continue to add to the stacks as Atlanta United is chasing after the second half of the year. Junior Alonso posted his message yesterday to social media. The Hoff has a conversation with Junior Alonso, and that is going to be that was posted as well. So let me see where we can find that. Hang on just a second. So let me see if we can let me see where the Hoff's conversation with the sheriff is, because I saw it. Okay, so it's on the YouTube channel. So it is the Hoff and Junior Alonso. Followed the club all the way back to 17. Mentoring homegrowns, finding out the nickname, the sheriff, and it's going to be the Hoff and Junior Alonso on the YouTube channel for Atlanta United. So go see the Hoff and Junior Alonso. I would imagine there's going to be another conversation coming up rather quickly with this other Five Stripes Don't Stop that we saw at 9 o'clock this morning. So in about 45 minutes, we'll have our answer. There are, how do we phrase this? There are directions that we are leaning. And so we'll keep an eye out on that. I have an idea as to who it may be, considering the gossip, rumor, and innuendo that has happened over the last couple of weeks. So we'll see if that is, in fact, the case, and continuing to add pieces from what has been subtracted because of contracts and lack of contracts being renewed and players being sent back on loan and those kinds of things. So Saba out, Galarza's loan not renewed, Barakal's loan not renewed. And so now you've added Junior Alonso at the back. We'll see what happens at 10 o'clock, and we will proceed in that direction as well. So there's a lot to keep our eyes on. Head on a swivel. This is a head on a swivel day. Tomorrow is even more of a head on a swivel day. So tomorrow, with it being what it is, enjoy it for the experience, because it is going to be one of the largest days that the city has ever had when it comes to a sporting event, its meaning and its place. So Consider us all on mark when it comes to the next couple of days. So we'll find out who wins today between Spain and France, and we'll find out who gets to go to the Meadowlands and who gets to go to Miami. And then tomorrow, we'll find out who goes to the Meadowlands and who goes to Miami between Argentina and England. So that's the rundown there. Just a couple of programming notes. Thursday, obviously, is going to be a lot of post-game and getting you ready for the weekend as it is. MLS is back. They have started their media campaign. Thursday is actually when matches start. So Thursday and Friday, getting you ready for Friday. Our friend Lucas Panzica is going to be joining us, I believe, on Friday morning to get us ready for opposition research as Atlanta goes to take on Nashville on Friday. We are also going to be efforting our friends from Apple TV, which reminds me I need to send that email today. And then also we're going to be having a conversation with Simon Jenkins from The Guardian. And Simon Jenkins, along with Max Hastings, produced one of the more well-known, one of the seminal books for the Falklands War. Max Hastings and Simon Jenkins, back in the mid-'80s, wrote The Battle for the Falklands. And so we're catching up with Simon Jenkins Friday morning. I don't know if it's going to be on tape since he is in England. And I don't know if it's going to be live or on tape. We'll let you know. But Simon Jenkins from The Guardian, who wrote The Battle for the Falklands, is going to be with us kind of as a guest wrapping up what happened in the midweek and explaining. It's like the England side of Falklands War 101. And so we're also efforting an Argentine guest as well. So Falklands War 101 class will be on Friday with Simon Jenkins, in addition to everything else that we have going on Fridays. So we're efforting Lucas Panzica from Nashville. We'll have Simon Jenkins from The Guardian to talk about the Falklands War and England and Argentina. Should have some fun with our friends from Apple TV, efforting our friends from Beyond Goals Mentoring. So we might be going long, and it's already Tuesday, and I'm looking at Friday, and I'm going, yeah, we're probably going long. So that's I think that's the rundown for the remainder of the week. But yeah, Simon Jenkins from The Guardian is going to be joining us on Friday, and can't thank them enough for the quick turn when it comes to having him available to us. Yes. Yeah, well, yeah, and that's it. It is Malvinas and Falklands and all of that. Because, and sidebar, I'm calling a sidebar. Before we get into opening kickoff, I thought that it was important to have a Falklands class, to have a Falklands 101. Because a lot of folks hear the songs that are sung by the Argentines, and there might be just a cursory knowledge about the war, considering that it was 44 years ago. So we thought, because of everything that is there in the context of what's happening tomorrow and all of that, that if we could assemble a Falklands 101 class, we would do it. Just because I'm sure a lot of folks who are either going to be at the match tomorrow or watching the match tomorrow, and especially here in our footprint, here in the United States, may sit there and they may just think, okay, Falklands War, and not have very basic information about what happened. And so that was why we thought to add the context of the war in and of itself. We thought that that would be important. And yeah, and yes, the 30 for 30 that was done on the war in and of itself and discussing with the Argentine players. And so that's why we're cutting this in half. So Simon Jenkins will come on and present the perspective from England and his knowledge base. And then we're efforting an Argentine expert to come on and go from there. So that's kind of why that's why we did this. Because you hear chants, you hear songs, and you don't have the background. It's like, oh, yeah, there's a song about X, Y, or Z. And you don't have the background attached to it. And you wonder why something is the way that it is. And so that's why we've been efforting a Falklands 101 class. And Simon Jenkins is going to help us out with that from one perspective on Friday morning. So like I said, we're efforting the Argentine perspective, and we'll blend those two together and probably piece those two interviews together as a separate podcast. But that's why we're doing it. You hear a lot of things, not a lot of folks attached to it in the midweek here in Atlanta, where we're based, here in the United States where we're based, has that, has the knowledge locked down as to what happened and what it means and all that kind of stuff. So that's why we went down and we decided, we made a conscious effort to try and help educate when you have a war that is attached to a football rivalry. So that's why we're doing it. We thought it was appropriate to educate an American audience on what this means and why they're saying what they're saying, both sides. And so when you have one country that is upset when one of their pundits refers to the island chain by its non-native name, why are they upset? And so that's what we wanted to do, to get into this idea about the Falklands and explain it to where there's a better sense of understanding other than just hearing a chant and wondering what they're saying and why they're saying it. Okay, sidebar over. All right, so opening kickoff now brought to us by our friends at Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. Starts your day with the most important stories in the game, the right way to start your morning. Black Pitch Coffee, part of the SDH community. Try their home blend. You see them all over Atlanta. Made with beans in Brazil and Guatemala, heavy body, notes of walnut, semi-sweet chocolate, and a rich world-class finish. Opening kickoff powered by Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. And so what I figured I would do is, since we did something incredibly serious just then, figured we'd do a little mindless talk here in opening kickoff. So I don't know how many of you, and I hope I don't get in trouble doing this, I don't know how many of you out there have one of these. For those of you watching, you see me flashing my Panini book. For those of you listening, I'm flashing my Panini book. And I am now one box in. And both Jason and I have figured out that we need to get another box. What I didn't realize was that there are, how many? There are an incredible amount of stickers that you have to get to fill out this book. Players alone, it's 960. And so you have, so 4, 8, 12, 16, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40, 44, 48. Okay, so it is 48 by 20, which is 960. 960, and then you add another 8, so 968. Then you end up with getting into the Coke stickers, which gets you to 980. And then you have another 10, which gets you to 990 with World Cup history. So you're basically looking at close to 1,000 stickers to fill out the set when it comes to this. Basically, 980, 990 stickers to complete this set. I'm a baseball card guy. Have been for a long time. And I showed you last time my 1954 Pete Runnels. There's an auction that I'm a sucker for in Wisconsin, and usually they have one every 1 or 2 months. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to fill out my sets and get all the commons first before I have to spend enough money to buy a house to get the superstars and such. And so recently there was an auction that was held and so I got some 1954 tops and some 1961 tops and things like that. And so this is the newest edition, and when you can get cards for a couple of bucks a piece, and I'm going to do that. So for me, the fact that you have Panini sitting there and saying, okay, we're going to put up like 1,000 stickers, and I didn't realize it was 1,000 until I did the math. You get one box, and you get the box of 50. So my mother-in-law got me the box of 50, and I literally finally just put all of the stickers from the Panini, from that Panini box of 50 into this book. And so I think the odds of that plus duplicates, I got easily 325 maybe first runs. And then you have to get into the idea of, okay, the blue trim and the refractory, like the 3D refractors that are done with the individual teams and things like that. Then you get into the duplicates. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got duplicate Duckins Nazons, by the way, from Haiti. I got 3 Duckins Nazons. It's like my Ken Clay from 1977. Let's see, 9, 10. I got 3 Stephen A. Eustachios, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So 18 duplicates out of a case of 350. So 332 out of 350. That's not bad. Yes, I do have a lot of the heavyweights, but they're not bordered. They're just the plain white. It is, I have a Messi. I have a Lamine Yamal. I got them both in the same package, by the way. So Messi, Lamine Yamal, Jude Bellingham, Erling Haaland. I have them, but they're in the 1-for-1. They're not in the borders, like the blue borders or the red borders. And if you get through Amazon, then there's an orange bordered card that you can pick up as well. So in all of this, the ratio of singles to duplicates is pretty solid. But I would still, if I'm continuing that ratio, I'm still buying 3 boxes to complete the set. And so 3 boxes, you go to Amazon, it's like $300. So this is the cost benefit analysis part of all of this is like, is it worth it? Probably, because it's the last one of a lot of different stars, Luka Modric and such. So and literally you're going, okay, do I do the 50 that I can get through Panini itself and drop that money and figure it out, or do I still keep buying boxes? I just need another box, and I'll see how close I am to completing everything. It's probably going to end up being 3 boxes and then going to Panini to get the extra 50 to get this done. So you can see what the outlay is going to be to make sure that this floppy book has all of the stickers in what could be the last ever, and this is what they're saying anyway, that it could be the last ever Panini issued sticker set. So I don't know where you are on yours. I'm a third good on mine. It's like 318. So, ish, kind of a third, 30%. We'll say that. So 30% done after 1 box. I'm hoping to extrapolate the rest of that as we go forward. I didn't know where you were, if you were a sticker person or not. But as a baseball card person, I have fallen victim to the Panini sticker album. And my name is John, and I'm addicted to Panini stickers and filling out my book. Hi, John. That's Opening Kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and Kickoff Coffee. And wow, old sponsor. Sorry, read the copy, John. Opening Kickoff brought to you by Black Pitch Coffee, blackpitchcoffee.com. Starting your day with the most important stories in the game. Right way to start your morning. Black Pitch Coffee, part of the SDH community, showing up at events all over Atlanta. Try their home blend made with beans from Brazil and Guatemala, heavy body, notes of walnut, semi-sweet chocolate, and a rich world-class finish. Opening Kickoff, powered by Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. Okay. Yes, I'm taking my hydration break a little early. I don't know if you know this, but there's a game in Dallas today, and it's fairly important. You got the juice boxes all over the place, And if you look at the final four teams that are in this tournament, then it is these two teams are probably 1 and 2. And then you also have the teams tomorrow. One of the teams that's tomorrow might be the number 4, and they're the defending champ. By the way, did you know we have Champions League qualifying today? France and Spain, 3 o'clock, Jerry World. France right now is a plus 140. And that reminds me that I need to do this round of the medio. So it will be out about noon. So let me get done with the show. Then we'll do the medio in the Discord, and we'll be ready to go. But yes, it'll be the winners of these two games plus props attached. So that's your warning. I knew I forgot to do something. I got to write this down. So medio, I've got to write that down. All right. So medio is going to get done before the kickoff at 3 o'clock. France is a plus 140. 90-minute draw is a plus 210. That's where I think this is going. And Spain to win is a plus 220. Anticipated crowd of 11 gazillion people in and around Jerry World. Just to let you know how much of a ticket this is. Literally, you go to your favorite second chance purchaser, and right now, for match 101, get in price at Jerry World. By the way, no more than 4 tickets per match per household. No more than 40 total tickets per household for the tournament. Get in price. It's been hovering around 1,300. Get in price in the 400s, and these opened up today. Just over $1,325 per ticket to get in the 400s. Then you're looking at 300s and then suites. 300 level, $1,440. Suites in the 300 level, just under $2,000. Suites in the 200 level, over $2,000. $1,745 to get tickets, not in suites. Then you're looking at $2,000 to get in the corners. But then you get into the suites, it's getting closer to $2,500. End zones in the supporters sections, you're looking at $1,800, $1,700. And then, once again, you're looking $1,400 to get up high in the 400s. And then there are tickets that are more expensive to be in the suites in the 200s slightly than to be in the corners in the 100s. So $1,325 to about $2,000 is where things are at Jerry World. Maxing out at $3,000 if you want to get suites. To give you an idea, and we'll keep an eye on this, the get-in price tomorrow for 3 o'clock, Atlanta Stadium, the get-in price in the 300s is over $3,500. You want to get into the lower levels in the corners or close to the suites? 4 tickets are available in section 113 for $10,000 apiece. Section 114 has some that are $5,100. There are a lot of tickets in one caddy-cornered section that are $4,255. End zone caddy-cornered $3,850. $3,900. 2 tickets available for $4,950. And then the one supporter section in the corner, you're looking at $3,900, $4,000 to $4,400. That's like 2 months of salary for some folks. And that's your ticket price. That's your ticket price to get into Atlanta Stadium tomorrow for that matchup. To give you an idea about the matchup today, this is where we get into fun facts. Fun facts for this one. Ivan Bartone is the man in the middle. He's had a pretty solid tournament. We know of Ivan Bartone in the past and how he can be a bit adventurous, shall we say. Ivan Bartone, man in the middle. From El Salvador, David Moran is the second. He is the AR. AR number 2, Antonio Pupito. From Nicaragua, your fourth is Glenn Nyberg from Sweden, reserve AR. is Mahmoud Baiji from Sweden. Tomasz Kwiatkowski is your VAR. From Poland, Dennis Hiegler from the Netherlands. And your support VAR is Guillermo Pacheco from Mexico. Those three will be either sitting or standing in front of a bunch of monitors in Dallas, and you will see their names plastered while they're looking like they're busy on a full-screen graphic on the right-hand side of the page. Support VAR, Guillermo Pacheco. Standby VAR, Leodan Gonzalez out of Uruguay and Ivan Bebek out of Croatia is your standby AVAR. So France and Spain, once again, this is only the second time that they've met in the World Cup. First time was 2006. In the round of 16, David Villa scored first. Spain did not score after that. Ribéry, Vieira, and Zinedine Zidane. 3-1 win for Les Bleus in that matchup. Third successive World Cup semifinal. After beating Morocco 2-0 at Boston Stadium, Mbappé and Dembele scoring in the second half. Finished ahead of Norway, Senegal, and Iraq in group. Beat Sweden 3-0, Paraguay 1-0 in the first two knockouts. Belgium became the first team to score against Spain in this tournament this year. Fabian Ruiz, Mikel Merino helping them to a 2-1 win at SoFi. Since games are done there, I think we can go back to calling them by their previous names. Spain beat Austria and Portugal in the round of 32 in the last 16. After an unbeaten group stage, beat Cabo Verde, Uruguay, finished above Cabo Verde, Uruguay, and Saudi Arabia. And so you had the 3 goals on the board back in 2006. Last meeting was in Nations League in the semifinals in Stuttgart, the 5-4 craziness that was there back on June 5th of last year. So 13 months ago was the last time these two teams played in any competition. 38 meetings, Spain with an 18-13 edge over France, 7 draws. La Roja have won 7 of the last 10, losing only 2, including the 2 most recent, the 2-1 win in the Euros in 24 in the semis, and what happened in the Nations League last year. France are through to their third successive World Cup semi, looking to go for the final for the third time in a row. They have advanced from 4 of their 7 semifinals, winning 4 in a row after losing their first 3. They've won 17 of their last 20 World Cup matches, period. They've only lost once in their last 20 in the World Cup. 6 straight victories, equaling their longest streak ever. Brazil has a winning streak of 11. Italy has a winning streak of 7. Those are the only 2 longer runs in tournament history. France have won their last 7 against World Cup opponents, against European-based World Cup opponents. They've won 15 of their last 17 international matches, come out on top in 19 of their last 22 in the knockouts, progressed from 11 of their last 12 World Knockout phase matches where they were level at the half. So if you're going to get France, you better be on top of them after 45 minutes. Didier Deschamps' teams have not conceded a goal in their last 3 World Cup matches, longest sequence of clean sheets in the competition. Mbappé, 11 goals his last 7 matches in the World Cup, 20 goals, 20 appearances in the competition overall. Extended his record for goals scored in the knockout rounds up to 12, 4 more than his nearest rivals, Ronaldo and Leonidas, both with 8. Ousmane Dembélé, who was given permission to score by dictator Mbappé, just the 3rd French player to net 5 goals in a single edition of the tournament after Just Fontaine in 58 and Mbappé in 22 and 26. Spain unbeaten in regular time in their last 36 matches. They are 27-0-9 in a run going back to a loss against Colombia in a friendly in London in March of 24. This is their longest ever unbeaten run, surpassing the record of 35, which went from 2007 to 2009. Second semifinal for Spain. Last time they did was in 2010 when they beat Germany 1-0 and went on to win the tournament. 1950, they finished 4th in a final round group. Total of 11 goals has their best tally in a single World Cup, which came back in 1986. They've won 6 of their last 7 knockout matches against European opposition. The loss was in 2018 when they drew the one that was not a win, was a draw 1-1 against Russia back in 2018 before losing in PKs. Spain won their last 5 World Cup fixtures, 1 away from equaling their best win streak in the competition, which they got in 2010. They've only given up 1 goal in their 6 matches in the 26 finals. Fabian Ruiz, 10 major trophies at PSG. France's squad contains 5 PSG teammates: Dembele, Barcola, Zaire Emery, Desiree Doué, and Lucas Hernandez. Jules Koundé has played for Barca for 4 years. 3 La Liga titles. Teammates with 8 members of Spain's squad: Garcia, Cubarsi, Dani Olmo, Pedri Gavi, Eric Garcia, Ferran Torres, and Lamine Yamal. Koundé played for Sevilla from 19 to 22, winning Europa League in his debut season there. Tchouaméni has been at Real Madrid since 22. Double in the 23-24 season, 6 other trophies. Mbappé joined from PSG in 24, teammate of Fabian Ruiz. Tchouaméni and Mbappé joined at Real Madrid next season by Konate and Cucurella. William Saliba won the Premier League with Arsenal alongside Spain trio David Raya, Martin Zubamendi, and Mikel Merino. Maxence Lacroix, Jean-Philippe Mateta play for Crystal Palace with Spain's Jeremy Pino. Ryan Cherki is a teammate of Rodri. In 7 matches as a head coach, Deschamps against Spain at 2-1 and 4. 2 games against a Spanish side led by Luis de la Fuente both ended in semifinals defeats in Germany. 2-1 and 24 in the Euros, 5-4 in the Nations League. 3 of Lamine Yamal's 7 goals for Spain have come against France, all in the semis. Scored once in their meeting in the Euros, twice in Nations League. Mbappé got the winner when France beat Spain in the 2021 Nations League final in Milan after Oyarzabal opened the scoring for Spain. So that's your rundown of all of your fun stats and fun facts that are attached to this matchup. But there is one individual that has been causing a lot of problems for the opposition in this tournament from a Spain perspective. And he's done it more than once. When you have someone who can come off the bench and raise all kinds of you-know-what, it's going to be something that you've got to put in a spot shadow. We're talking about Mikel Merino. Mikel Merino in this tournament gets a goal at 90 plus 1, gets a goal in the 88th. So if you believe in trends, I would anticipate a Merino goal, depending on if you believe 90 plus 1 to be 91, either in the 85th or the 86th minute today in Dallas. Atlanta Soccer Tonight, Jason went into a deep dive on Mikel Merino and why he is such a problem. And he is, in fact, a problem. And here is that, well, no, that's yesterday. So hang on, it's like, seriously, it's like you're trying to get everything squared away. You're sitting there and you're trying to talk about stuff, and then you don't load it, you moron. Unbelievable, but not really. So here is, jeez, wow. Okay, so here is the AST breakdown of Mikel Merino as a player to watch, not anticipated in a starting 11. We'll go back and let you know about the starting 11s in after we're done here. We'll give you the starting 11s from last time and see how much we anticipate change. Unless something happened that we don't know about, this guy's coming off the bench. And here's why he has been such a problem for the opposition when they go up against Spain. Here's Jason's breakdown of Mikel Merino on AST.
He can handle that a little bit more. I think you lose some elements with Fabian Ruiz versus Pedri. I think Pedri is the potentially more effective player here. Maybe the more dangerous player is the better way to put it. But Fabian Ruiz paired with Rodri might make you a little bit stronger. So I'm fascinated at that decision. But here's the other thing about Spain that France is going to have to be aware of. Mikel Merino. He's been the super sub in this tournament. And he's been the super sub really in general in terms of either coming off the bench or just being that guy late in games. Over the last 3 seasons for both club and country, Merino has scored 12 goals after the 80th minute, and 8 of those 12 changed the result. Over a third of his goals in that span have come after the 80th minute. The fourth highest rate in Europe's top 5 leagues among players with at least 30 goals. He's one of only 2 midfielders to be there alongside Jude Bellingham. In this tournament, he was decisive against Portugal in the first minute of stoppage time. He was decisive against Belgium in the 88th minute. And he scored those goals after only being on the field for a couple of minutes. When you have that ace in the hole, it gives you confidence. I always remember Italy early in the 1990 World Cup, and I think they honestly kind of messed themselves up a little bit with this. You had Toto Schillaci, who kind of came out of nowhere to get into the Italian team and then be the super sub and score goals late. And he did that so well that they felt like they had to start him. And then you lost the super sub, so you couldn't change the game late. Spain, because of all this depth in midfield, and give full credit to Mikel Merino, he has accepted, this is just what I am with this team. It hasn't affected him. He's not clamoring to start. He's not getting frustrated. He says, all right, I'm going to get 10 minutes. I'm going to make the most of my 10 minutes. And it's important to have that. It's important to have that weapon if you're Spain. Let's say France gets a goal. Let's say they get 2 goals. Merino comes into the game, you're immediately going to be like, oh, man, here we go. This guy's good in these moments. That's going to be something in the back of the French minds. Alex Baena, who has been very good on the wing for Spain, he was asked directly about the framing of this match, which I would agree with. Spain will have the ball. France will be dangerous on the counter. Baena said Spain knows exactly how France plays, who their attackers are, how they thrive in transition. And Baena said that Spain's plan is to simply control the ball and limit turnovers. You can't change who you are at this point. You can tweak little things and you can alter elements of it, but you are who you are. And Spain can't turn into a deep defending team. They can't turn into a counterattacking team. They're a possession team. It's who they are. That's their DNA. Baena also downplayed a travel disparity story. Spain had 1 less day of rest, about 10 more hours of flight time than France. Baena said it's not an excuse. They'll be fine. Luis de la Fuente, the manager for Spain, he has consistently during this tournament had a lot of really interesting quotes, a lot of really fascinating ones. He has been a big-time, I don't know, like he's really studied a lot of the Roman Empire and ancient Rome. He dropped a Julius Caesar quote on us today in the press conference. He said, there is no great achievement without suffering. And he said that his team is ready to suffer for this one. They're going to have to get past France, who has been the best team in the tournament so far.
There you go. That's your rundown, Mikel Merino. Keep an eye on Mikel Merino. If you have him in your fantasy, good on you. If you can find a way to put him in under your salary cap, good on you there. Starting lineup last time out for Spain against Belgium. Unai Simon in net. Listed as a 4-2-3-1. Cucurella, Laporte, Cubarsí, Pedro Porro. Ruiz and Rodri in front of them. Attacking midfielders Baena, Olmo, Lamine Yamal, and Oyarzabal up top. Pedri came in the 55th minute, as did Ferran Torres. Nico Williams comes in the 79th. Mikel Merino comes in the 86th. So that was your substitution pattern going up against Belgium. So Merino scores in the 88th minute for the number 2 team, according to the FIFA rankings, knocking off number 9 at SoFi. So that was the Spain lineup last time. France's lineup last time for the number 3 team in the world. Mbappe scores in the 60th. Dembélé scores in the 66th. 2-0 over Morocco, who's ranked at number 7. So the lineup there, once again, shouldn't be any real surprises. Although Dictator Mbappe did end up with your hat trick and got the goal, assist, and a penalty save. Ball don't lie. Morning, Dawn Star. Lineup for France last time out. Mikey Magnon in net in a matching 4-2-3-1, at least until the whistle blows. Digne, Saliba, Upamecano, and Jules Kounde at the back. Rabiot and Kone ahead of them. 3 attacking midfielders. Doué, Olise, Dembele, and Mbappe up top at an 8.6, subbed out after 77 minutes. With all of the focus on Mbappe and Dembele, I don't know if it's fair to say or not, but maybe one of the more underrated guys in this tournament has been Michael Olise. Olise, last time out, punched a 7.7, 77 touches, playing the full 90 minutes, 40 of 50 passing at 80%, 1 chance created, 2 shots off target, had the 1 blocked shot, 77 touches, 5 touches inside the opponent's 18, 4 successful dribbles on the day, 9 passes into the final third in the attack against Morocco. 1 cross, 2 corners, dispossessed once as well. 4 defensive contributions, 2 tackles, 2 picks, 4 recoveries, 1 dribble pass. 10 of 17 on his duels on the ground, and he was fouled 4 times. Olise kind of hovering in the back. Obviously, Dictator Mbappe, he will be the one that determines who scores and who does not, because he is, after all, Dictator Mbappe. And if you have not seen those memes, they're fun. Morning, David. So maybe with everyone focused on Dictator Mbappe and his lieutenant Ousmane Dembele, maybe this is a chance for Doué and Olise to get some work done against an incredibly tight defense in Spain that, once again, has only given up 1 goal. And you had a north of 600-minute shutout streak for Unai Simon in this matchup. And so if you picture Lamine Yamal on the left-hand side, or Lamine Yamal on the right-hand side of the attack, this to me is going to be interesting. Because if you have Doué and Olise, you figure Mbappe and Dembele are going to be working down the right-hand side of the defense. So if that right-hand side is Rodri, Porro, Lamine Yamal helping out on defense, going up against Mbappe, Dembele, you've got that right-hand side. So let me, I flipped my pictures. Hang on. All right, so Lamine Yamal that way. Okay, so it would be Lamine Yamal, Rodri, Porro against, Doué and Olise down the left-hand side of the attack versus the right-hand side of the defense, which would be Rodri, Porro, Cubarsí, Lamine Yamal. So you're running at Cubarsí, who is, he 19 years old, and he is discomposed. Of course, playing for Barcelona will do that for you. But to give you an idea about Cubarsí and his defensive numbers, 89 of 91 passing in the Belgium match for Cubarsí. 2 chances created, 106 touches, 12 passes into the final third from a right center back location. But remember, we sit there and it's loose construct and all that. So positioned at right center back, Cubarsí at the age of 19 against Belgium in the quarters. 106 touches, 12 passes into the final third for Pau Cubarsí. 1 accurate long ball, 8 defensive contributions, 5 clears, 2 picks, 3 recoveries, and he was 4 of 8 on his duels. He was fouled once as well. But 106 touches, 98% passing at 88, 89 and 91. For a 19-year-old, that is a lot of composure. Obviously, with Rodri, 118 touches for Rodri, had the most touches in the matchup against Belgium. Played the full 90, 98 of 104 passing for Rodri. Listed as a defensive midfielder, but of course, when you play in Pep's system at City, and then when you play for De La Fuente, sure, you're a D-mid. 98 of 104 passing, 2 chances created, 118 touches, 10 passes into the final third. So you had literally Rodri had 10 passes into the final third on 118 touches. The center back behind him in the defense had 2 more passes into the final third. 6 of 7 accurate on long balls for Rodri. 4 defensive contributions, a tackle, a block, 2 clears, 2 recoveries, won both of his duels. So you end up with Rodri, Kubarsi. Let me check Lamine Yamal's defensive numbers. We know what he's able to do offensively. Had 1 defensive contribution, a tackle, 4 recoveries, and a dribble pass. So Pedro Porro helping out from Spurs. Full 90 minutes played last time. 66 to 75 passing from right back at 88%. 101 touches. 6 passes into the final third. 3 accurate long balls on the day, 4 defensive contributions, 2 tackles, a clear, a pick, 4 recoveries, 2 dribbles passed, 6 of 12 on his ground duels, fouled twice as well. So the left-hand side of the attack for France, Doué, Olise, Mbappe when he shades. Left-hand side of the attack, Yamal, Rodri, Pedro Porro, and Kubarsi. That to me, I'm gonna take that third of the field. That's where I'm going to be looking when it comes to everything that's on the board in this matchup. So that's just me. And Oyarzabal, by the way, 79 minutes, a 7.4. Considering what happened in match number 1 against Cabo Verde, where Oyarzabal was a non-factor, he has caught fire ever since. 33 touches last time out against Belgium. Played 79 minutes, 22 of 25 passing from the striker position. 88%, 2 chances created, 33 touches, 4 touches in the opposition 18, 2 passes into the final third, 3 defensive contributions from up top, 2 tackles, a pick, a recovery, and 3 of 4 on his ground duels. So that's what you're getting from Oyarzabal. And David asking about Olise. Well, and I mean, so let's get into the history of Michael Olise. First and foremost, the fact that that Crystal Palace, Happy to Be Here FC, was more than happy to send him on his way. Born in England, playing for the French national team, international career. So Olise was eligible to represent France, Algeria, or Nigeria internationally through his parentage. When he was asked why he chose to represent France rather than England, Olise said, "I've always had a connection with the France national team. That is why I play for France. That's why I will play for France. It's been my dream since I was a kid to play for the French team." His mother, Mina, sent tapes of her son to the Triple F, which was eventually seen by Jean-Luc Vanucci, coach of the U18s. And so Olise, heading into the international break in September of 24, was given his first senior call-up by Didier Deschamps as they were getting ready for Italy and Belgium in the Nations League. The quiz was, is it because your mother was born in France? And he said, no. I've always had a connection with the French national team, and that is why I play for France. That's from Liam Wraith at Get French Football News. 7 of 11 of France's 11 goals in the Olympic tournament to start things off, but he's always had a connection with the French national team. The fact that his mother is French by birth was not the reason. He just felt, I've always had a connection. So I don't, it might have been, and it might have been logjam. It might have been, but this is something that has gone on since he was U18. So for 7 years, this has been this has been part of his pathway. Tape goes to Jean-Luc Vanucci, coach of the French national U18s. May 27th of 2019, Olise called up to the U18s for Toulon. Made his debut against Qatar. March of 21, named as a standby for the squad in AFCON qualifiers. The standby for the Nigeria squad in March of 21. March of 22, Olise was called up to the France U21s for the first time. Made his debut in the 2-0 win over our Faroe Islands. Final squad call-up for the Paris Olympics in 24. Received that first cap July 4th for the French Olympic team in a friendly against Paraguay. 2 goals, 5 assists, and a silver medal for them in the 24 Olympics. So this is something that he has been looking at for 4 years. He's been with the U18s, but with the national team itself, the senior national team, it's something that he has been paired up with since March of 22. Called for the U18s, called for the U21s, got his first cap in 24, just a little over 2 years ago. Literally 2 years and 6 days ago for the Olympics. So it might have been logjam. It might have been just where he thought that he would best be served with his learning curve and whom he would want to learn from and who he would want to play with. So, logjam and all the things. So is it official? Apparently it is official. So now that we have cleared 10 o'clock, it is that time where we hit the breaking news sounder as we were anticipating a movement from Atlanta United, considering that we got the 5 Stripes Don't Stop tweet at 9 o'clock this morning. It is official. Paulo Diaz has announced his signing with Atlanta United through the 28 season, options for 29 and 30 coming from River Plate. Defender from Santa Cruz, Chile, playing for River Plate in Argentina, dating back to my birthday, actually. Word from EMOL Sports at the time, dating back to June 24th. Paulo Diaz had terminated his contract with River Plate and was going to join Atlanta United. This is back June 24th, according to EMOL. Chilean had already undergone a medical examination late June to join the MLS team managed by Tata Martino. This is from Teise. 222 matches, 13 goals, 7 titles, 2 professional leagues, 2 Argentine Super Cups, 2 Champions trophies, and an Argentine Cup in 2019. First part of the 7 years at River went well for him, according to Teise, but lately heavily criticized for poor performances. Had a contract with River until the end of 2027, lost a lot of prominence this season, especially after the arrival of Coach Eduardo Coudet. Not even included in the delegation late June that traveled to Spain for preseason training, made to train separately with other players who were dropped from the squad in Buenos Aires. And so the club, meaning River Plate, got to save a significant amount of money, very high salary at the time. And so the article, once again, from EMOL the week before, River Plate, this is their headline. River Plate makes an official announcement and takes a drastic decision regarding Paulo Diaz. River Plate wanted to get rid of Paulo Diaz, made the announcement back on the 17th. Argentine club released a statement saying that, once again, he wouldn't be a part of the traveling party. In that context, the club had announced that Diaz, Maxi Meza, Herman Pezea, Fabricio Bustos, Alexander Voisky, Maxi Salas, and Juliano Galopo would not be a part of the delegation and must report to train on the 22nd. Argentine media had reported a major squad overhaul at River. Noteworthy that the list included, in addition to Diaz, Pezea, and Salas, River Plate paid around $9 million last year for the Palestino and O'Higgins player. Diaz was not in Cupdates' plans. So that was the rundown there, not in the plans of Cupdates at River. And so Paulo Diaz and his contract were put in separate corners, had a contract until the end of 27. But Paulo Diaz terminates his contract late June, and he is now a Five Stripes Don't Stop here today, heading into MLS's back. So let's get into the background of Paulo Diaz. Once again, signed through 28. So that means it is through this season, the sprint, and the next one. Options for 29 and 30. So looking at Paulo Diaz, let's get into the numbers here. We mentioned the number of matches played, River Plate, etc. So let's see what our friends at Transfermarkt have to say. They still have him listed at River Plate. 31-year-old center back. And let's get into the detailed elements of his signings here. So, and he can play any of the four positions. His main position is center back, as a right-footed center back. So you could see fighting for minutes Junior Alonso on one side and Paulo Diaz on the other at center back. But they have been known to play, Diaz has been known to play left back in addition to center back, his main position, and right back. So he has played any of the four positions on the back line. So looking at his overall stats instead of just the profile. So let's see if we can get into numbers here of matches played and where it's been. This season, eight matches, 379 total minutes, and no goals or assists. So he came from Al Ahly. Before that, it was San Lorenzo. Before that, Colo Colo and Palestino. So that's the transfer history of Diaz. So let's get into all season stats and where he's played and all of the locations where he's been. So he's listed as a center back, playing either of the two. He has played center back in 270 career matches. He has played right back and left back. So he has been on the edges before. Right back dominant, 39 matches, 309 and 23. So 332 total matches. He has played center back in 270 of those. So 9 out of 11, 80% of the time he's been a center back. But he has played right back, he has played left back, and he has been a D mid. So that's the positional breakdown of Paulo Diaz from his time as a professional. 2026 for River, once again, it has been 8 matches, no stats, and no goals or assists, and 1 yellow card. 25 for River, 10, 18, and 11. 29 matches in all comps in 25 with 2 goals and an assist. And 222 matches with River Plate, 69 with San Lorenzo, 39 with Palestino, 33 with Al Ahly. And so that's your rundown on Paulo Diaz. So 80% of the time he's been a center back, but he can play the left. He can play the right he's right-footed by nature. So he can play on the outside, but 80% of the time in his career, he's been a center back. He has played defensive midfielder when asked. So that is the rundown. 56 caps for the Chilean national team as well for the 31-year-old, and he will turn 32 in a little over a month. 31-year-old Chilean center back, right-footed, and he has 56 caps and 1 goal for the Chilean national team. Heading to Atlanta United, under contract through the 28 season, options for 29 and 30. So that's the rundown on Paulo Diaz. And obviously, as we get into other things, we'll look at what the roster looks like for Atlanta United and all that stuff. So that's your big breakdown of Paulo Diaz. So Junior Alonso in, Paulo Diaz in. No word yet on availability for the matchups for this weekend with Nashville. Wiley, it is experience. The first one with Junior Alonso, Tata Martino specifically asked for him. And if you're looking for stability at the back, so you can take things a step at a time and prevent goals, so you can worry about creating later, you worrying about defense first. Because remember, Barakal's loan was not renewed. And also, you've got to think about what you want to do with Matias Galarza's loan not being renewed and then Sabalob Janidze heading to RSL. But if you feel confident, and we've seen this with Tata Martino and the academy and the twos and such, where he is confident in the younger players that we've seen come through the system with Atlanta United, Cooper Sanchez, Will Riley, et cetera, Jay Fortune, where you add this experience to help you out at the back with an Amy High, Stian Gregerson, Matt Edwards, Tomas Jacob, and then you look at left back. You got Dominic Chankui coming through the system, and Pedro Amador is there as well. So if you're looking for experience in front of net, right there. If you work along the spine, you have that experience at the spine to work your way forward, and you have the confidence in the younger players in those other positions. So experience at the back, and then in the center, at center back, basically, in the center of your defensive structure, experience there, and then building around the edges. Dominic Chankui, Matt Edwards, Tomas Jacob, and then working your way forward from the spine. So Jay Fortune, Will Riley, Cooper Sanchez, and then working the attack. So think of it like going from the back and going forward. So that's where you are with that. And this is just me extrapolating the transactions. Like I said, I do not have Tata Martino's ear, but if you're looking to shore things up at the back, you get experience. It does not mean that Junior Alonso and Paulo Diaz are going to be instantly starting, but it adds to the experience that you have. And one other element in this is schedule compression that's attached. Well, I mean, Wiley's talking about kicking the can and developing players. They're developing players in other spaces. And also, if you're looking at the twos, you've also got Matthew Sananu and Toto Majoub and Mohamed Cisse. But you're looking at them on a daily basis and giving them time to develop while you bring in this experience. And remember, when you sign someone to a contract of a length, this is one of the things that I always remind folks. When you sign folks to a contract of length, you're controlling the asset for that long. So that way you're not just sitting there and doing like a temporary patch on a tire. You're having them here. If they work out and they're successful in that run, fine. If for some reason they don't, you still are in control of that asset. And if someone wants to come by and say, hey, I like what I see in that individual, you're still in a decent bargaining position if down the line someone knocks on your door and is interested in somebody. That's why you sign contracts for lengths that you do. If they work out and they're fantastic in the length of that contract, that's what you got them for in a perfect world. But at the same time, you're controlling the asset for the length of that contract. What was I going to do? Man, I zoned out completely. So we've got the development, but like I said, if you have faith in the younger players along the edges and the outside, then schedule compression. That's what I was doing. Okay, so looking at schedule compression, And that's the other part of this too. Because of the sprint to go in, you're going to need depth. In whatever form it takes, you're going to need that depth. So the schedule for Atlanta United, just to give you an idea. So here in July, going into the World Cup break, you're playing 3 matches in 8 days. Nashville on the 17th, Charlotte on the 22nd, New England on the 25th. All of those are on the road. Then you go into the World Cup. You go into the All-Star break. It only affects Miguel, but August 1st, you're in Philly. Then you come back to Mercedes-Benz after the August window. Then you have your first home match on the 15th of August. 4 days later, you play in Minneapolis at Allianz. 4 days later, you're back home to take on Sporting Kansas City. Then on the 29th, you're playing Charlotte here in Atlanta. Then you've got Messi and friends at New Stadium on the 5th of September. Atlanta's hosting the Purple Team on the 9th. You're going to DC on the 12th. Then you've got a week to breathe before you go to Portland, a week to breathe before NYC. Then you've got another window, and in October, it is 3 matches in 7 days, hosting Cincinnati, going to Montreal, hosting Miami, and then you've got another week to take on Chicago. 4 days later, you're in New York, and then you have another match on the weekend of November 1st in hosting Toronto, and then you go to Harrison, New Jersey to close out the regular season. So you're also looking at experience down a schedule compression that's attached. So that's where we are here. For experience in a bunch of different places, and you're also checking in on how things can orient themselves in positions of need because of loans, et cetera, and working your way forward to deal with trying to get into the playoffs, dealing with schedule compression on multiple fronts. So you need that experience down the line, and also you're going to need that experience to figure out who you want to start. Who's going to be my starters? You have that kind of a challenge every single day at practice, and then you work forward and lay it all out that way. Okay, let me, since we are past the top of the hour, and we're going to catch up with Albert Mitchell here in a second, we get in our hydration break here, because I forgot to do that at the top of the hour. So everyone hydrate, because I've been talking for an hour and 15 minutes. So everyone hydrate, grab your hydration, and brought to us by our friends at local Vine Beer, Wine, and Liquor stores, 2 locations in the Atlanta area, Johns Creek and Cumberland. Cumberland, it's off Cumberland Parkway and Cobb Parkway. And thanks to them for being great friends and hosts for us here in 2026. So please, everyone, hydrate. And I apologize for doing that as loudly as I did, because that sounded loud in my headset. All right. So our guest is here for hour number 2. And what I wanted to do was when Director Mitchell came in and we were having conversations back and forth, it's an opportunity for a bit of an education on our front. And it's part of our mission statement here, to continue to educate and grow the game, and to be able to attach yourself to the growth of the game and helping out off the field as well as you're trying to grow the game, and using soccer as an element of change and support and all of this. So there is a program that is started in the Northeast, and it was started by NJ Med. And for those of you that don't know what NJ Med is, it is the New Jersey Minority Educational Development. And Albert Mitchell, who's going to be joining us here in a sec, he is the founder and executive director of NJ Med. He's designed, managed, and coordinated the nation's first evidence-based at-risk minority male dropout prevention model. And from 96 to 2006, the 100% graduation rate program, if I get my upper plate to work, raised high school graduation rates by 49%, college enrollment by 41%. And so this is from their base in New Jersey. What they're trying to do now is tackle literacy and how we can have young people, and I mean young people. You start them early when it comes to books, you start them early when it comes to learning, and you get them on that path of literacy. And that's what NJ Med wants to do with their Futbol and Books program. And so they're rolling out Futbol and Books because of the World Cup. They're rolling it out nationally, and they're looking to do it here in the southeastern footprint, especially with the semifinal coming up tomorrow. And it's an opportunity for us to find out about Futbol and Books, to find out about NJ Med, and find out the challenges that are attached to it, and whether you're looking at public response, whether you're looking at honestly, public perception, all those kinds of things. And so it was an opportunity for us to find out about NJ Med and find out about Futbol for Books. And so now we bring in Albert Mitchell to discuss. Director Mitchell, good morning. Thanks for dropping by.
Hey, good morning, John. How are you?
You tell me. You're the one that's tackling the larger issues.
Yeah, well, we're excited about the campaign, Futbol and Books. We're trying to reach at least 1 million children by 2030. The goal is a part of the United Nations goals, Sustainable Developmental Goals. Goal number 4 specifically is to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and life learning opportunities. So we've been working on our campaign since 2016. And it's actually Sustainable Development Goals from 2015 to 2030. So we started at 2016, and we looked at the landscape and see what the problem is. How could we assist them? As you mentioned, our 100% graduation rate programs in Camden, started in Camden, New Jersey. It had a 30% high school graduation rate for the minority males in the community. We were able to get the graduation up to 89% successfully. Matter of fact, one of our graduates is the head football coach of Syracuse football team, Franz Brown.
There you go.
He was actually a 5-year student. So we worked with him, and he was able to accomplish his goal, and he's doing beautiful work. And we have other success stories also out throughout the country and also locally. Our goal is to find a way to support. Now, when we talk about minority, we deal with issues that are affecting less than the majority problem.
Right. Yeah.
So we're talking. It includes whites, Hispanics, and Native Americans as well, and blacks. So we've created a program we feel that can help support the UN, and that was to create a program targeting the biggest issue that's facing the country. And we saw literacy. We didn't even know. We're talking about it's estimated that only 54% of Americans are reading above 6th grade level.
Right.
Okay. So, below 6th grade level.
Right.
So that's where we're stuck at. So we're having everything that goes on in the news, whatever. We only can understand it from a capacity as a 6th grader. Okay. So we're trying to figure out a way how we can increase the literacy level, because they're saying it's costing us $2.2 trillion a year.
Yeah.
And that's something that we can help try to resolve. So we came to that conclusion that, we're going to design a program. Since I have a background in soccer, called Soccer Respect, I've been around for a while. And I said, okay, let me link soccer with literacy, our literacy efforts. Again, because soccer is in every community across the country, and it has an impactful way of reaching people and engaging them. Because soccer, I don't know if you're familiar with soccer, of course, but when you bring the sport to soccer, a lot of our kids go out there and they have a good time and great time, have great have fun, but we're not focusing on their academic levels. So we decided let's try to engage them on that level. So we said from 3 to 5-year-olds, we're trying to reach them as they're like you. Again, when you start with soccer, we're talking about in this country, again, development of players. We can reach every kid with our campaign. So if they want to stay involved with soccer, they can stay involved with soccer. They don't. but our goal is to give soccer teams a chance, soccer leagues to grow and also engage with their community. Because when we're talking about engaging with their community, we're talking about their parents and having them go out and raise money again for the leagues and also give books to the community.
You mentioned 3 to 5 year olds. Why start there? Why not 6 to 8? Why not 8 to 10? What was it about the 3 to 5 year old timeline that's got to be our starting point? Why there and not older than 3 to 5 year olds?
Okay, well, 35% of our children enter school not ready to read at ready for educational level, and that's mainly 3 to 5-year-olds mainly. So we're focused on that targeting that population. Again, they're like neglected, like across the world.
Mm-hmm.
Kids engage in soccer as soon as they can. You're
Right.
talking about kicking a soccer ball at 3 and 4. So we're trying to get our kids involved and engaging them with something that introducing soccer to them, and also providing an outlet for them to participate in it.
When you want to reach out, obviously, to the 3 to 5 year old, whatever your target age group is, you've got to get to the parents first. You've got to get to the community first. How much of a roadblock have you experienced in trying to get to this goal and get this program up and running, and then having to convince parents that A, this is an issue, B, we're trying to hit it as early as possible so you don't become a statistic? What's the feedback and the interaction with parents as you're trying to convince them about this program?
Well, our initiative is our goal is to become partners with the U.S. Soccer Foundation,
Right.
and they deal with most of the population that we're targeting.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to. We know that a lot of time parents don't have time or not engaged with their children at the reading level. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. I sent you some information about the statistics from third graders.
Right.
Because we're not. Fourth graders. We're not reading at the level that's going to make us successful in the future. Because I have a campaign now on LinkedIn. You can see it. I don't know if anyone's interested in finding out more about it. It's talking about how we start from the age of 3 all the way to 15. We're doing a study on it. So we're talking about how it affects their behavior, and it also addresses your children's future access to their fortune, their career choices.
You mentioned career choices and trying to have this, up and running from 2015 to 2030. How daunting is this for you, for NJ Med, and for Futbol and Books? How much of a labor is this in working the boulder uphill?
Okay, so one of our first goal is to get the soccer leagues to participate.
Right.
Once they say they agree to participate, they can go out and start raising money for their leagues. And we're saying, for example, they get a book for kids. Each book that they donate is $1. Okay, so we're trying to get as many books as possible out to their community. So we have to engage the soccer leagues and hoping that they will participate with this initiative.
So the goal is obviously distributing 1 million books across the World Cup host cities that are here, and I'll expand it to this hemisphere. I won't include just the U.S. I'll sit there and say U.S., Canada, Mexico, and we'll say 16. When you mentioned getting youth soccer leagues participating and engaged from 2026 to 2030, what has feedback been like so far in these early stages to sit there and go, okay, so they're telling me this, they're giving me this feedback, we need to adjust our idea here? What have the early rounds of this fight been like for you?
It's been a part of us trying to go out and reach all the 11 cities that we're targeting,
right,
that are host sites at the World Cup. We've got to educate them. There's pushback, but they like the idea, but they don't understand why it's so important to get literacy out there. As again, this is affecting the country, the whole. When we talk about making America great again, we focus, because I have a group called America First and America Last. If we're not first, we're going to be last.
Right.
So we have to focus on getting their interest and promoting a promotional campaign and getting them aware.
So then, these days with promotional campaigns, those of us of a certain age, and I'll go ahead and say that I'm of a certain age, we're used to doing things with paper and emails and all this kind of, and all this kind of stuff, hand to hand distribution and shaking hands and being out in the community and this kind of stuff. Is it still that way that is the most successful? Are you having to do things more on social media? How's the interaction, and how are you tackling all of this when it comes to introducing and integrating what you guys want to do?
What's going to have to be at the grassroots level. Like I said again, soccer's in the communities.
Right.
They're in neighborhoods. They have to go out and hopefully, like I said again, we want to make it a win-win situation for everyone.
Right.
You're gonna again, it gives your league more exposure by saying in a community, join our league. In the future you may want to participate. Like I said, 3 to 5 year olds, they want to become soccer players. They may be interested in soccer. We have basketball, football, but again, we want to engage them with soccer as saying that we're offering you opportunity to better your life, and soccer may be the way for you.
You mentioned also in our previous conversations about how early literacy can affect the workforce pipeline, and that was something that stuck with me as well. Obviously, if you have 54% from your statistics reading below a 6th grade level, then that 46%, when you're trying to increase those numbers, the connection of literacy to desiring whatever job, it could be whatever job path you want to take. Obviously, literacy can reinforce that job path, and you're not held back. Well, you don't have this on your CV. You don't have this experience. You don't have this knowledge base. You get to the idea of literacy affecting your future, and I see obviously you hit the parents and you go 3 to 5. You're getting them early, so they can understand the pathway as they build it from young adult to 6 to 8, to getting that first summer job, and understanding its base to get you into the other places and higher learning. So that it's that first building block when it comes to the foundation of wanting to increase your spot and your desires, what you want to do with your life. Yeah.
Because when you have to introduce a situation where you have to get the community involved. Again, the parents have to see that it's going to benefit their child in the long run, their grandchildren. So we're trying to encourage them to get involved, make sure that their children are able to read. Because when you go to school, and I don't know how, like I said, I work with younger children as well. When you go to school, you're disattached from education, and eventually affects you as you go forward. Like I said, again, 85% of our kids that are in the juvenile justice system read below their grade point level. See, it's a juvenile level affects them there. Again, when you're talking about digital, we're talking about the new age. We're talking about it's going to be a digital age now. AI can do a lot of work for people, but again, you just punch in a couple of things, and that's it. But they're not knowing the basic elements of education. You have to learn how to read and write and math, of course, mathematics. But again, those are things that we're focusing on.
When you have someone that has been impacted, whether it is a parent, and you can take this in 2 separate ways. When you have a parent or a family, and when you have that young adult, that young person that is now probably a young adult that has come through the ideas that you have put out there, whether it's at NJMed or with and all of these ideas, what's it like to see that family come back to you, that young adult now come back to you and sit there and say, yes, this was a great lesson for me to learn? What's it like to get that kind of feedback and have that feedback loop where those people that you touch others, and it grows and it grows and it grows? What's that feedback loop like for you?
Like I said, like when we're talking about those young men that we dealt with, and we had that success, they've become fathers. Like I said, we're creating whole families, and their children are benefiting. Like I said, their children are smarter than they are. Okay. So like I said, because unfortunately, we have remedial courses in America. It's like 33% of our college tuition goes to that. Okay. Because we're so far behind. But again, when you see the kids, the smiles on their faces, the children are glowing. Like I said, they have opportunities that their parents didn't have, but they're more focused now on success.
And when you have all of these success stories that have come through, obviously, you have the World Cup as this big fulcrum, and the final is going to be up there in the Meadowlands, as I refer to it, up there in East Rutherford next weekend and everything. How difficult is it when you've attached yourself to when you lean into a big ticket item. How difficult is it to maintain momentum after an initial spike of interest to where you can continue telling folks it's like, no, it isn't just because of this event that we are talking about things here. This is a 365-day-a-year battle that we have to face and that we've got to attack each and every day. It's not something that can just be, a blip and then the battery goes out and you got to plug things back in. How often do you have to remind folks that this is something that is in the trenches every single day that you have to fight?
Okay, let's talk brass tacks. John Nagel said soccer. Let's talk about soccer in the country.
Mhm.
Again, after the World Cup, everyone, it fades away. People until another 4 years, we get everyone excited.
Right.
Again, the sport has to grow. This is an initiative. This is a legacy. We want it to grow in the communities. We want to keep it alive. We're saying this is something that's going to continue to be a part of your life. Again, that's where we want to go. I said again, soccer is a sport that everyone, when I first started, I started soccer in inner cities, wherever, they would say it would never grow. It would never grow. Look at it now, it's blossoming.
Mm-hmm.
Again, soccer is a sport that you have to introduce the children to it. Like I said, everyone keeps saying our best athletes go to other sports like basketball and football, because when you get to high school, soccer's, if you're a popular soccer, you're more, who do you think is going to get the more girls, the football player or the soccer player?
Hey, now, I mean, these days, I mean, with soccer being what it is, I mean, soccer is as popular as it has ever been. So American football, you're getting some folks that are competing with you now when it comes to spring schedules now.
But now you got to listen to this, and mostly urban cities where soccer high schools don't have it.
True.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're trying to give the kids a chance to be engaged with soccer. I said again, when we want the sport to grow, it's keeping football or soccer. It's football and soccer. We're trying to keep it alive, keep it alive in the communities. Like you said, 365 days a year. When it's a part of your life, and we want to give the football and books a part of every child's life. Imagine if every kid in the country gets involved, the parent get their kids involved in football and books. They'll know what soccer is. That's a future fan right there. That's a future player right there. We're trying to build the sport out.
Mm-hmm. And build it out through a million books. And how, when you go to whether it's a publisher or a wholesaler or something like that, when you're trying to make sure that all of these books are handed out in the directions you want to go, what's the initial feedback from when you're trying to get the physical idea of that book in whatever form it is these days, when you go and you talk to those that are the producers of the books, whether it's an author or a publishing house or whatever, what's their feedback to you in this?
Well, that's great, because First Book, I don't know if you remember their organization that distributes books, Discount Rate. They got all the books publishers that we need.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be able to get the age appropriate programs, and their campaigns that they've been involved with soccer also in the past. So we're trying to get them involved and get them to be more excited about soccer. Again, football, the World Cup is exciting, building excitement. How are we going to maintain the excitement?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Football and books gives it another avenue to promote the sport. And we're trying to get football and book to become major, hopefully in every household in America.
Mm-hmm. What has this been like for you specifically, because of everything that you've been developing, out of Camden, New Jersey, and NJ Med, and being attached to the United Nations with special designation with them? What has this been like? I imagine, I don't think I'm selling it short by saying it's a labor of love. What has this been like for you to build this idea to where it is now, to where you want to continue its growth through 26 in the World Cup and keep the momentum going through 27 and 30 and 31?
Well, again, we have our project is of working with the United Nations. We were attracted to them because of our 100% success graduation rate program.
Right.
So that's how we became a member. So they wanted us to be a part of their global issue. So we're trying to help them establish a program, especially in the United States. Once we grow here in the United States, we can blossom this program out through our net. Because we have 54 countries, part of our network, education network. It's called the World Top 20 Project Network. So we have 54 countries. Again, our goal is to expand Africa, because literacy is a major impact throughout the world. Right. It's not just affecting the United States; it's affecting the world.
Do you remember the first day of this project and what it was like to start this project to get it to where it is right now?
I was shocked. I said again, I'm a soccer guy. I just figured there's a problem. I'll find it somewhere. So it came. It came to me. It said literacy is a problem. So I found out what it was,
Mhm.
and I studied more up on it, and now I'm ready to help resolve the issues.
And when you look at all of this, and how many folks are with you in this project? I mean, I don't anticipate that it's just you burning the candle at both ends 26 hours a day. How many folks are with you in this project from the NJ Med perspective to help get the word out with you at the front of the line?
Once again, we've been reaching out to volunteer networks and communities and getting them involved. Again, our goal is to get as many people a part of this. Again, it's not ours; it's theirs.
Right.
We launched a campaign. It's their goal. Like I said, you familiar with Occupy Wall Street?
Mhm.
How it just blossomed.
Right.
I was blown away. I was a marketer for a while, and I was like, "This Occupy Wall Street is crazy." Now, if we can get it from a grassroots level to a massive level, again, this is something we all need. Literacy is something we all need. Again, I can read, my parent can read, there's parents that can't read.
Mhm.
And they're saying like 72% of the kids, 72% of the kids, parents that don't read, pass it on to their children. They don't not read in their household.
Right.
Again, this is a problem.
Mhm.
It can grow into a bigger thing.
Yeah.
Again, we're trying to cut it off at the legs.
Right.
And we're trying to make this a goal that soccer is the major contributor to the sport. Again, I'm a soccer guy. I keep telling you, soccer guy. But again, football. Like I said, I've seen players that are great, could be great, 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 great players. But again, they're attracted to other sports because again, it's the popularity of it. So if
Mhm.
we can get the sport of it being a part of everyday vocabulary, that this soccer is known. It's a thing. It's something that's tangible. We can be a part of it and encourage the community to get involved. That would be beautiful.
So then how do they do it? How do they get in touch with you? How do they find out what's going on at NJ Med? How do they get Football and Books under their tent? How do they do it?
They can go to Football and Books campaign. They can look it up on Google or you Yahoo and
Mhm.
just search out. They can contact us once they get the information, and we'll be able to get to it again. Again, the goal is to get the United States Soccer Foundation. Again, getting them. Hopefully, they'll be partnering with us in a community capacity, and they go out and help encourage their program. Their program is great. They're beautiful because again, they're putting soccer pitches throughout the country.
Right.
They're trying to get 100,000 coaches, and it's just wonderful.
So since you are a soccer guy, so what's going to happen today in Dallas with Spain and France? What's going to happen?
It's going to be tough. But let's get back to the U.S. Now. Why didn't we should have parked the bus. The first 20 minutes, we should have parked the bus and make them attack us. And then when their energy and all that exuberance, they wanted to come out with us aggression, it'll drop down. Then we can start playing the game, settle down to the game, and be successful that way. Now,
You're a rope-a-dope guy, huh?
Yeah.
You want to hang on the ropes and you want to sit there and go like this and let the other guy tire himself out.
I wanted Jose Mourinho to be our head coach, actually to be the national team coach.
Wow.
Okay, and it wasn't. But again, today's game is going to be. It's going to be. I think Spain. I want France to win, but I know Spain is tough to beat, and it's going to be tough for them to crack the nut. And then when you get the England game and Argentina,
boy,
you're talking about is England up for the battle? Are they going to come to play the game? Are they going to be? Messi right now, I'm not even thinking about Messi. If I was coaching their team, we're not thinking about Messi. We're thinking about our team. If we focus on England, they should win the game. Now, then that would be a great final. England and Spain would be tough, but I'd rather see England and France play.
It's gonna be a tough one. I had Argentina and France in my bracket, and so that's kind of where I am right now.
Everybody, that was everybody's international, pick. But again, unfortunately our national team again. I'm really a national team coach. I'm not national team coach, but I'm a national team supporter.
Mm-hmm.
And as I said again, the flaw of our problem is that everybody keep bringing Christian Pulisic. It's not his fault. He's Robin. He's not a Batman. He's a Robin. But they're trying to make him a Batman. So he did the best he could. I hope that I was hoping that in the future we can get more players in the United States. Again, I got this kid named Albert somewhere. He's supposed to be some good. I don't know. And Hall, the kid Hall, is supposed to be good. And
Look at you dropping Red Bull's names here on the show. Look at
I
you.
don't know. I don't follow MSL. I'm sorry. I just follow the EPL.
No, but Julian Hall, that's a good poll. I mean, you're dropping Major League Soccer names in here for the national teams in 26 and 30. So you're an EPL guy. Who's your team?
Oh, EPL, man. I mean, I don't know. I follow all. I'm a neutral.
Okay, nothing wrong with that. Albert Mitchell, CEO and co-founder and the founder of and executive director of NJ Med up in Camden, New Jersey. Futbol and Books campaign. I can't thank you enough for dropping in and letting everybody know about the program, and just continue doing your thing and keep the nose to the grindstone and a million books by 26 and 2030, and having every state in the union being a part of this whole discussion through the 11 host cities here in 26. I can't thank you enough for spending a lot of time with us here this morning. And it's a great initiative, and that's why we wanted to reach out and let everybody else know about it. So I can't thank you enough for your time, Albert. Thanks for dropping by.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
There he goes. There's Albert Mitchell from NJ Med. Once again, just a quick reminder of his background. And you look at NJ Med specifically, and that is the New Jersey Minority Educational Development. And as founder and executive director, once again, coordinated the nation's first evidence-based at-risk minority male dropout prevention model, graduation rate program from 96 to 2006, 100% graduation rate program. Raised high school graduation rates by 49%, college enrollment by 41%. And now, with the Futbol and Books campaign, they're trying to tackle literacy issues at the 3 to 5 year old individual. They start there with the preschool, with the preschooler age groups, and then tackle it from there, and you increase your success rates from there. So that's what they're looking for with Futbol and Books, NJ Med, and once again catching up with Albert Mitchell, developing these programs, and they're looking to get it coordinated here in 26, a million books through 26 and 2030 with all the host cities here in the United States. And so he reached out, and so we wanted to let everybody know about that program and see how the local aspect can be tapped when it comes to this particular program. So I can't thank him enough for dropping by this morning and letting everybody know about Futbol and Books and what life is going on there to create a project like this, and all the work that goes into it up there, and based in New Jersey at NJ Met. So it's always great to catch up with Director Mitchell and find out what the latest is when it comes to tackling literacy here in the United States. And thanks for having him dropping by. So that was very, very cool. And sometimes, we'll do those kinds of interviews. We'll do those kinds of interviews and programs and let everybody know what's going on, where soccer can help. And tackling literacy issues definitely is a part of that as well. Looking forward to seeing this program continue to grow and evolve here in the U.S. and chasing after a million books delivered through all the local associations through 26, 30, and I'll say 31 because obviously that's here in the U.S. as well. Okay, getting into gossip, rumor, and innuendo, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, all the things that are attached to what's going on. Now, since we have juice boxes, we actually can talk about things. But today, once again, brought to us by our friends at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. That link is important, helps us out, helps them out, helps you out, because you get access to a lot of the streaming services and matches that you might not have had a chance to look at until you hop in with Fanatis. A lot of the A and B divisions in South America, you get TVV out of Venezuela, CDO Plus out of Chile. You get TSE out of Argentina, and they've been wall-to-wall Argentina, and Albi Celeste. And by the way, they had their last asado in Kansas City before they were packing up and heading this way. And it looks like Emi Martinez, it looks like he is the one that is going to be, he is the main asador from the team perspective. So they had their last asado, and TSE, I'm sure, has been covering it. I mean, look, when TSE sits there and they're looking at the planes that has the team and it has Lionel Messi and landing in Kansas City, and they're shooting it from a helicopter, yeah, that's how serious they are. You get Copa Argentina with them as well. You get all the BNs. You get Middle East. You get North Africa. You get WAFCON, AFCON, CAF, all the Olympic qualifying tournaments, all the the FIFA qualifying tournaments. You get that with beIN as well. You end up with French League, Turkish League, and I always forget the third one. French, Turkish, Polish. Those 3 leagues. And you also get Libertadores and Sudamericana at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. You also get Liga 1 Max Pro out of Chile. Now, today, it's real easy. But believe it or not, we got Champions League to get into. We'll go over those juice boxes too. So, Big FOX, Telemundo, Fox ONE, Peacock. 3 o'clock kick with France and Spain. Champions League qualifiers, Jori ETO and Vikinga Reykjavik, for you sickos out there. That's at 1 o'clock. That is at 1 o'clock. And so you've got that in your juice boxes. So, and you've got Conference League qualifying too. So Champions League qualifying, you've got one match that kicks in 8 minutes, and with our friends at KUPS, they're going up against Vardar out of Macedonia. So 1 at 11 o'clock, you have Iberia 1999 and Flora of Estonia. Lincoln Red Imps are playing. They're a dog on the road in Andorra. 1 o'clock, you've got 2 matchups, one involving Riga FC and Ararat, Armenia. Latvia and Armenia going at it. Jor out of Hungary is a minus 154. The matchup on ESPN+. Vikinga Reykjavik is a plus 375 on the road. 1:30, Levski Sofia and Borac Banja Luka, Bosnia-Herzegovina. Levski Sofia, big favorite. Sabah Baku out of Azerbaijan is going to take on our friends at TNS out of Wales. Drita out of Kosovo at 2 o'clock is taking on Kaunas Žalgiris out of Lithuania. Shamrock Rovers and our friend Pico Lopez, 3 o'clock, hosting Floriana out of Malta. And Larna is taking on Tre Fiori out of San Marino. So those are going on. Most of the home teams are favorites, with a couple of exceptions. KUPS, Iberia 1999, Inter Escaldis, Riga, Jor out of Hungary, Levski Sofia, all favorites at home. Sabah Baku at Wales is a favorite on the road. Drita out of Kosovo is a plus side favorite. Shamrock Rovers, big favorite at home. Once again, Pico Lopez from Cabo Verde. And Larna hosting Tre Fiori. Tre Fiori, by the way, out of San Marino is a plus 2,000 dog. Conference League qualifying, La Fiorita out of San Marino is taking on Luxembourg's UNA Strassen. And they're favored on the road, by the way. So that's your competitions. We're getting back into league competitions as well. So that's Primera B in Argentina is going on today. Australia is going on today. South America's got U20s. And so you're starting to get the leagues back up and running again. And so some of the leagues have juice boxes going on. League Cup's going on in Scotland, just to give you an idea. Got a bunch of friendlies that are on the board. So League Cup out of Scotland, Iceland, Ecuador, China, Australia, Argentina, and qualifying in Champions League. So we're back, people. Getting back into league play and such. So that's your juice boxes there. Let me see if the juice boxes have not really changed, except the 90-minute draws at a plus 210. France and Spain are still at their numbers, plus 140, plus 220, respectively. 90-minute draws at a plus 210. So now let's get into all of the gossip, rumor, and innuendo as everyone is shifting places. Atlanta United picking up players this morning, and you get to add another experienced player at the back end, Paulo Diaz, coming from River Plate. So here is all of your transfer news. And I'm trying to see if there are any headlines that Folarin Balogun has joined LeBron's agency when it comes to his representation. You have, all right, so let's see. The transfer news. Where's my transfer news, people? Here we go. Okay. Coming out early this morning. Trending rumors. Andreas Schjelderup, according to Abola, Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs. 6 appearances for Norway. All 3 Premier League clubs watching the situation. And we'll talk to our buddy Nino Torres about Benfica and Sheldon will talk to him on Thursday about it. 2 years left on his deal. Sheldon is considering the possibility of a new challenge. Any move expected to require an offer at least 40 million euro. Roma are keen to land Alejandro Garnacho, according to Corriere dello Sport. Roma reportedly weighing up a 38 million euro offer to sign him. He only joined Manchester United for 40 million pounds in the summer. Also open to an initial loan deal that would include an optional permanent clause. Argentina international missed the 26 World Cup squad, training away from the Chelsea first team this summer. Mason Mount attracting interest from Aston Villa and Newcastle, according to Team Talk. Old Trafford hierarchy reportedly received several inquiries regarding a deal. Michael Carrick is keen to keep Mount at the club because of his versatility and impact in the dressing room. Sources told the four-letter that ESPN is that United are closing in on a 35 million pound move for Yuri Tielemans. We can update that with Ben Jacobs in a bit. Looks as though Mount could be a potential option to replace. Barcelona could move on from Ferran Torres this summer. PSG is interested, according to David Ornstein at The Athletic. 26-year-old has 1 year remaining on his deal. Manchester City in line to receive €8 million if he signs a new deal at the Camp Nou. Blaugrana looking to avoid that by offloading him, as they already brought in Karim Adeyemi and Anthony Gordon. So they don't want the sell-on fee to be going to Manchester City, so they're looking to offload him. So Adeyemi and Gordon brought in. Torres is yet to score for Spain. Transfer could command a fee of over €40 million. Atletico de Madrid interested in Marc Bernal, according to Mundo Deportivo. The 19-year-old high on the short list. Diego Simeone's keen on getting the signature. However, they see him as a key player, meaning that Barcelona does. Believe he could become a regular starter. Aren't open to including him in any potential deal for Julian Alvarez. Done deals. Luka Viskovic, Brighton completed the signing from Spurs on a 5-year deal, option for one more. Brighton had agreed on a fee of £46 million with a further $4 million in add-ons. Revs have announced that they've extended the loan of Matt Turner from Lyon through the end of 26. New England has another option to further extend the loan through the end of 27, at which point they can acquire the contract of Turner outright. Manchester United have announced the signing of Wales goalkeeper Carl Darlow on a free. Arsenal women have signed 19-year-old winger Lisa Baum from RB Leipzig. Yuri Tielemans will have an update. United were in advanced talks to sign him from Villa. They were set to trigger the £35 million release clause in the contract. Villa was keen to keep him, but Tielemans has indicated he would like the opportunity to move. Like I said, we'll update this when we go through our sources. Chelsea set to intensify their efforts on Rayo Vallecano left back Pep Chavarria, second bid of €25 million, including bonuses incoming from Marca. Real Madrid aren't expected to make a move for Michael Olise. €200 million offer could be considered, RMC Sport. Four-letter paper, Arsenal are turning their attention to Bradley Barcola as an alternative to Morgan Rogers. Abola, Bournemouth are keen on Benfica center back Antonio Silva. Record, Juve and Benfica are in the race for Joao Palhinha at Bayern Munich. Fabrizio Romano, Internazionale considering a move for Spurs fullback Jed Spence. Daily Mail, four-letter paper saying Wrexham are interested in Sunderland keeper Anthony Patterson. Florian Plettenberg says that Bayern Munich have decided to keep defender Kim Min-jae at the club unless they get an extraordinary offer. This offer is just ordinary. What would it take for it to be extraordinary? Corriere dello Sport, Internazionale set to end their pursuit of Trevor Chalobah. Team Talk, Spurs have entered the race to sign Nottingham Forest right back Nico Williams, recently linked with Manchester United and Newcastle. Football Insider, Leeds United preparing a £35 million approach for Sassuolo defender Tariq Muharimovic. Atalanta, Nicolo Schira, have proposed a new 4-year deal with the option for a fifth to Ederson, who's moved to Manchester United, fell through. Bild is saying that Hull City and Southampton are exploring a move for Werder Bremen forward Justin Nienema. Now, looking at our normal folks as they continue to push through on a daily basis and give you all the sources and all of the stuff that is attached. So we'll start with our buddy Ben Jacobs and let you know what's going on there. Barcola, once again, still high in Liverpool's thinking. 5-year deal for Yuri Tielemans. Ben Jacobs is reporting Tielemans has passed his Manchester United medical. Formalities began yesterday. Besiktas and Arsenal both confirm an agreement for Leandro Trossard. Trossard has agreed to a 3+1. Fee is €18 million plus 2 in add-ons. Thomas Meunier is going to sign a 2-year deal with Sunderland. 34-year-old is going to join as a free after leaving Lille. And Brighton confirming Luka Vuskovic, joined from Spurs on a 5+1, 46 plus 4, and for the 19-year-old Croatian international. It's a 2+1 deal for Darlow, according to Ben Jacobs, to go to Manchester United. Inter have made a new approach for Curtis Jones through intermediaries. 32 million euro have been floated, rejected out of hand. Jones will remain unless Liverpool's 40 million plus euro valuation is met. Liverpool considered the first 25 million euro bid as derisory, meaning they didn't like it. And the second approach was also dismissed. We mentioned Meunier, and then obviously Andre Santos signing on a 5+1 yesterday. Ugarte being injured and staying this summer. Plan is to sign one more central midfielder. So Lille is seeking 100 million euro for Ayoub Bouadi. The number would drop for suitors prepared to keep Bouadi at Lille for another year. So basically, you sign him, you loan him back, it'll be less than 100. City is a leading contender. Arsenal, Manchester United have also been in talks. Inter also have Curtis Jones on their radar. Mason Greenwood given a green light to join Fenerbahce in a deal worth over 40 million euro, 4-year contract agreed. Al Ahly failed in a late attempt to hijack the deal. Manchester United get a significant sell-on fee from when Greenwood left Old Trafford for Marseille. So that is the rundown internationally. Let's see if there's anything domestically that we need to keep an eye on once again as we get ready for MLS is back and the ad campaign that has been attached. So now you have, let's see, what do we have here? I think we're in good shape. Nathan Ordaz and then Bogert responding to the pickup of Junior Alonso and Paulo Diaz. 2 experienced international center backs, 2 U22 initiative fullbacks. Jacob, Alonso, Diaz, Baez. So that's what you're looking at there with those 4 at the back, according to Tom Bogert. Let's check with David Ornstein and see what else is there. There's something involving Sunderland that I do want to get into. He mentions Meunier, mentions Ayoub Bouadi and Manchester City and Lille, all trying to work together. Mentions Tielemans from yesterday, 35 million release clause in the contract. And Villa in the process of finalizing the move to sign Johan Manzambi from Freiburg. And Ezri Konsa poised to start at right back for England in the quarterfinal. And so I think I've gone entirely too far back in the process. Okay, so I wanted to share this story. Oh, free Chick-fil-A entree if you dress like a cow. I don't have the legs for it. I don't have the legs for it. Really don't. And surprising no one, there is a, and this is from the APD. Atlanta Police Department, the department say that additional officers obviously will be deployed around the stadium and in the city's entertainment and high traffic areas with large crowds expected before and after the match. So keep an eye on that. But obviously anticipated, not necessarily a surprise. So let's see, checking and seeing about FIFA has moved the VAR on site for the semifinals. So they were in the IBC in Dallas. They've moved them on site for the semis, just as an oh by the way. And today, if you hadn't remembered, or if it's not on your calendar, today's Bastille Day in France. Today is Bastille Day, people. Argentina have scored 17 goals at this World Cup, more than any other team, 1 more against England, equal their highest total in a single tournament, 18, which they set for themselves back in 2022. Then, let's see. Adrien Rabiot and Jules Kounde have revealed players regularly gather privately at the team hotel to dissect matches, discuss tactics, and work through problems without the coaching staff. So then They are taking their own time. They're taking their own time to figure out what else is going on with everybody else and themselves. So let's see. Say a Bastille Day. Remember that. Today is Bastille Day. There's Vukovic and that signing. And Oliver Glasner has been speaking to Nottingham Forest website. Oliver Glasner said there is no button to press that will automatically make his side competitive. PA is carrying these quotes. No button to press that automatically makes it happen. It's a daily thing that will take progress over the coming weeks, which is what we have started. People are what is most important, and that is what gives me a lot of confidence for this project. I've met great people. You can have the best stadium, best training ground, but if you don't have the right people, it doesn't work. Now we have to find the way that it is best to work together. Part of those quotes. Gee, I wonder where part of that was lined up. So there was that interesting quote that was attributed. It's Sunderland. Remember all the Spygate stuff that we were talking about with Sunderland? Apparently now, the intern that was caught up in Spygate has been given a permanent position at the club. Louise Taylor at The Guardian follows up on Tonda Eckert. The manager is waiting to learn the outcome of a lengthy and detailed FA investigation into Spygate. Remember back in May, they expelled Southampton from the championship playoff final against Hull. Southampton and Eckert admitted to the EFL Disco. The manager had specifically authorized similarly clandestine operations against two other opponents, Oxford and Ipswich. But they only won one of those. William Salt, the 23-year-old intern deployed to spy on Middlesbrough, has reportedly now been offered a permanent job as an analyst in Southampton's academy. But both he and Eckert could still face a range of severe sanctions, potentially including individual 12-month suspensions from all football activity if a precedent set by FIFA is allowed. That was the punishment that was given to Bev Priestman. You'll remember back in 24, after she was found to have been involved in using a drone to spy on New Zealand at the Paris Olympics. Two of Priestman's staff also received individual one-year bans. Eckert's fate remains unclear. Understood he was interviewed at length by the FA at the beginning of July. Obviously, he has kept a low profile. They're going to play their first preseason friendly Saturday night against Eastleigh. We'll see if Eckert is on the touchline. It had been thought that Southampton were minded to sack Eckert back in late May, but they've resolved to remain firmly behind their manager. Southampton's owner, Dragan Šolak, said Eckert had made a mistake, apologized for it, and now deserved a second chance. So the intern has been offered a full-time position, and it looks like Tonda Eckert is not being dismissed, although you still have the long FA investigation that is going on. And we will find out what the end of that is when that does, in fact, pop up. Other stuff before we get out of here for the morning. And reminder that Atlanta Soccer tonight, we'll break it all down for you. We're going to have reports on social media for the MD-1s, the Matchday -1 press conferences and on opportunities. Those are going to be at Atlanta Stadium this afternoon and tonight. We'll have those for you. It'll be before dinner hour, so like in the 5 and 6 o'clock hour. Then you've got your press conferences with Thomas Tuchel and with Lionel Scaloni. Those are later in the afternoon, early evening. So that's what we'll be keeping eye on with the day being the big day that it is. Let's see. I think we are in good shape with the newspapers and such. So once again, quick reminder, if you do not subscribe to the Morning Espresso newsletter presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente, as always, it's great to have them as a part of everything that we do here at SDH. Can't thank them enough for anything and everything that is going on with the SDH network. So really it's been a fantastic relationship with them, and it's been fun to see how the tournament has grown and evolved to this particular point. So it's always been fun to get to this point, and it's always fun to find out what's on Jason's mind when it comes to Morning Espresso. And thanks to our friends at Kaiser Permanente for being partners with us. Atlanta United, by the way, with the Thanks World Will Take It From Here campaign, partnership with Ticketmaster and Papa John's, first match on us campaign, free ticket pairs to people who've never been to Mercedes-Benz. And the promotion already ended because demand outran ticket supply. Kansas City, God bless them, as they consider themselves to be the epicenter of soccer in the United States. I think that obviously that God bless them, bless their hearts, but I think it's more Atlanta. So you've got the regular season kicking off on Thursday. Ismail Elfath becomes the first American to referee a men's World Cup semifinal. He's going to be in charge of the match tomorrow. Corey Parker, Kyle Atkins, Ismail Elfath. First American to referee 4 matches in a single World Cup. And so Ismail Elfath, a great story on his own. We'll get into that tomorrow. So U.S. is eyeing the 2029 Club World Cup. U.S. has expressed an interest in hosting the tournament after running the 25 edition. Without a competitive bidding process, Brazil and Qatar are also in the conversation. Google, by the way, broke a search record mid-tournament with Argentina's comeback win over Egypt. Queries per second got their highest point in the company's history right after the game-winning goal. We mentioned Alan St. Maximin and Charlotte. We mentioned Matt Turner and the Revs. We mentioned Falarin Balogun and Clutch Sports. So it is all very cool there. And then also a couple of things on the website and where we have all of our activities and your favorite podcatchers and all of the stuff that you save with notifications on our social media. If you missed the conversation that we had with Clyde Best, it is up in podcatchers, and it was in yesterday's show, and the segment has been pulled itself, so you can listen to it on its own. And also our Frank Osborne has a story up. Jason has a piece at soccerdownhere.net up on Clyde Best. Then our one of our new contributors, Frank Osborne, he has a story up on Wonderwall and how it became one of the songs of the season for the England national team. And so tonight, we're going to make it right. 10 o'clock, 92.9 The Game, Odyssey app, 92.9 The Game YouTube channel. Jason's going to recap the semi today, set the table for Argentina, England, here in Atlanta. I cannot emphasize that enough. Argentina, England, semifinal World Cup here at SDH headquarters in Atlanta tomorrow. Craziness. Fantastic craziness, but craziness. 10 o'clock, 92.9 The Game, Odyssey app, 92.9 The Game YouTube channel. Podcast available later in the Off the Woodwork podcast section at 929thegame.com. So he'll set up everything there to get you through today, remind you of today, and get you ready for tomorrow. So Manchester City's players have logged more minutes at the World Cup than any other Premier League club by more than 742 minutes. Manchester City ahead of Arsenal, Liverpool, Villa, and Manchester United. The Jose Mourinho Netflix documentary is going to be globally released August 11th, same time that he starts as manager. Barcelona has requested a return to Montjuic for the 27-28 season. They want to play the first half there while a new roof is installed at Camp Nou, according to Mundo Deportivo. Played home matches in that venue 23-24 and 24-25 seasons. They want to return for 27-28. So they're getting the stadium completed, but they need to build a roof. So we need to go back to Montjuic. Hey, fam, can you help us out? So today, 3 o'clock, find your favorite service and watch and enjoy, because we're halfway there after today. We know who's going to the Meadowlands after today. We know who's going to Miami after today. And we'll know more tomorrow. It's going to be a crazy 30-plus hours, starting in Dallas, ending in Atlanta, to determine who goes to the Meadowlands and who plays in the third-place game in the World Cup here in 2026. It's been a crazy run so far. Personally, I'm anticipating that the game goes more than 90 minutes. I think it goes to PKs, and then it's up to the keepers at that point, which to me would lean Spain. So I think Spain wins today, and we'll see what happens and who goes to New York, New Jersey, who goes to East Rutherford, and who goes to Miami to play at Hard Rock. So that's another go-round of SDH AM. Thanks for dropping by, as you always do. Thanks to Albert Mitchell and everybody at NJ Med and the Futbol and Books campaign, as they're making sure to tackle literacy issues in the United States and starting at the 3 to 5-year-old age group to start it early. So no family is caught off guard. So we'll continue to keep you updated on that program. And you can go to Futbol and Books and you can find out more information about the program itself. And I can't thank Director Mitchell for coming by and hanging out with us and explaining everything from the perspectives of why they're tackling this particular issue, successes, and everything they need going forward. So thanks to them at NJ Med for Futbol and Books, and thanks to all of you for coming by and getting ready for the preview. Tomorrow, remember, Power Hour, 8 a.m., 8 to 9, highlights, post, pregame sound, getting you ready for tomorrow. It will be chaos. 8 to 9, Power Hour, and then we're heading downtown. Enjoy the game today. Enjoy the game tomorrow. We'll talk about more tonight, 10 o'clock on Atlanta Soccer Tonight with Jason, 92.9 The Game, the Odyssey app, 92.9 The Game YouTube channel, and any places that you get your 92.9 The Game-ness. 10 o'clock tonight, 10 to midnight, and then 8 o'clock tomorrow morning is your Power Hour, 8 to 9, before we head into downtown as Argentina takes on England. So that's another go-round of SDH AM. Mucha Platiel, play it safe. Since it is the end of the show, that means we get to do one thing and one thing only. And mercifully, deathly onlooker, blah, blah, blah. I can't tackle you on Twitch because I don't see you. Dawn Star. Okay, so David's going to hit up Decatur today, weather permitting. Yes, absolutely. But you can also go to O'Sullivan's. Sorry, I've double clutched the ending. It's a coda. David, go to O'Sullivan's if you can. If you can't, go to Benchwarmers or maybe the Marley. If the strip of the 5500 is clogged, O'Sullivan's, the Marley, Benchwarmers. That's where we go. And Don Star wants Spain and England. David says Spain and Argentina. Fun either way. First steps today. Since it is the end of the show, everybody, thanks for coming by as you always do. Thanks to David. Thanks to Wiley. And let's see. Thanks to who else popped in this morning? Don Star and Will. Remember, Medio for this go-round pops up later today. Discord before the kickoff, 3 o'clock. So use your lunch hour appropriately. End of the show. That means we get to do one thing. We get to do this. See you in a bit.